Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The video that I'm dropping tonight, it's actually something that I came across earlier today, and it was put out by a liberal hive mind. I don't know if anybody knows that channel. If you don't, I'm going to leave a link in the description so you guys can go there, show him some love, and like, and also if you like, subscribe to his channel. He puts out a lot of good content, but this piece that he put out in particular really got to me. One, he's showing some video of when Trump visited the Bronx last week. Okay, to me, that I think that was amazing that he went out there and he started. He went to another small business, which was a barbershop, and had some words with the people from the community, which I think is amazing. Also, he also puts out some information of the good old Board of Education and their liberal teachers out in California. Something that was done to some students by a liberal teacher that I found to be very disgusting. Okay, and no, it's not what you think. Okay, but just the act alone of what this one teacher did, I believe it was one teacher, to her students, and let it be known that all these teachers that are on the left that keep saying that that their party is the party of inclusivity. Okay, this just puts another notch on their belt of how sinister, okay, a lot of these liberal teachers are. And this is why I'm always saying that people need to get engaged, okay, at the schools, with your children. Find out what's going on with the teachers. Find out what the curriculum is. They can't deny you the curriculum, okay? A lot of people tend to think that they're not allowed to have it. That's not true. That is not true, okay? I honestly believe, and the reason why I'm saying this, before I play the video, I'm going to say a couple of things. The reason why I say this is because, let's just say, which I mean, we've heard it many a times, where a student might get hurt, or something happens where they have to be out of school for about, let's just say, a week or two, maybe even a month. Okay, the parents have every right to keep their kids' grades up and go to the school and collect whatever curriculum that the boy or girl had to was going to have to do within that time frame, so they can do it at home. So when you have teachers sending kids home with like letters or whatever the case is that parents have to fill out, you need to read everything and don't be afraid to ask questions. Okay, that's the number one thing, because we have to keep these teachers in check. And also, they would be so lucky that they're not voted in, because if there was a position that you had to get voted in, there would be a lot of teachers out of work. Believe you me, there would be. And maybe that is something, in all honesty, maybe that's something that people should start looking into. And the reason why I say that is because if the federal government could be in cahoots with the Board of Education, then why can't the parents have a voting system say so? Just a thought. If it's something that could be done, let me know in the comments. Okay, if it's something that maybe a petition needs to be signed up, I don't think that many people in the United States would be against that. Plus, it'll bring out the best in the teachers, and we'll find out who's going to be the good teachers and who's not. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's something, just something that I wanted to say. But I want to show this video so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And there's also a story that I want to tell about this. And the reason why I'm doing this video is because of something that was told to me back in, I believe it was 2019, if I remember correctly. But I'll get into that. But without further ado, let's check this out. Here we go.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, it's kind of funny because Kamala Harris and all these Democrats seem really intent on changing the subject with their latest and greatest talking point. Donald Trump is old and exhausted. He can't be president. He's too tired. They're trying to use the Sleepy Joe strategy against Donald Trump. He's canceling interviews and he can't keep up, says Kamala Harris, who did a 6-minute rally in the last, 5 days? Meanwhile, Donald Trump is doing multiple events a day and showing up on stage for hours on end, riffing without a teleprompter, without a script.
Pretty much. I'm gonna pause it real quick. You know what's funny about this? I was trying to look for the video. I saved it, but I don't know if I saved it on my laptop or my iPad. Believe it was last night, and one of the town hall was supposed to be a rally, actually, or something like that, a town hall meeting. A person in the crowd got up and asked if they were going to be allowed to ask Kamala questions. Okay, as a matter of fact, it was a town hall she did, I believe, with Liz Cheney, out of all people, and this was before it started. But somebody was happened to be sitting down with their phone on, recording. And the woman that was in charge of the town hall meeting blatantly told her no, and basically almost word for word came out and said, no, they have some questions already that are scripted. They're going to be asking Kamala those questions. So in case anybody thinks that Kamala could answer questions off the cuff, no, she can't. Everything for her has been scripted. As a matter of fact, the rumor going out today is that she's not going to be doing any more campaigning, because supposedly, God only knows what, but supposedly Barack Obama is doing the campaigning for her with Tim Walz, and supposedly they had one of their first rallies today with Barack Obama taking Kamala Harris's spot. Don't know how true that is, but if it is, I'm telling you, the Democrats have no shame whatsoever. But let's continue.
Donald Trump's too exhausted. He's canceling all his events. He can't keep up. That's what they're saying. Literally, it's unbelievable, to be honest. But that's really the strategy here. But I'm just sitting here scratching my head, wondering who's buying this stuff. Because if you're actually paying attention for more than 2 seconds, reading beyond the headline or just existing online, you'll realize very quickly that Donald Trump is everywhere. He's not tired,
Yep.
He's not exhausted, he's not hiding from anything. No, he's everywhere. It seems almost unhuman in a way. The guy's almost 80 years old and he's got more energy than most people my age, I'd say. And he's got possibly one of the most grueling campaign schedules ever seen. I sound like Trump, actually, if you think about it. The greatest, most tough, most grueling campaign schedule ever. Nobody does it like me, folks. I know, my Trump impression sucks. But it's okay, you guys can laugh at me. I have thick skin and my bones aren't made of glass. Anyways, the point that I'm making is Kamala Harris keeps saying that Trump is so exhausted and he's nowhere, but Trump is everywhere, red-pilling the freaking masses with viral moment after viral moment. And what do I mean by red-pilling people? Well, pretty much it's short for telling the truth, saying things that actually make sense, providing solutions and isolating problems, pretty much everything that Kamala Harris isn't doing, actually explaining who you are and what you stand for and what you want to do as a political candidate. I know, a crazy concept. And here we go, we got another one of those moments where the left points the finger at Trump and says he's crazy. How could he possibly have such a stance? But then you hear it actually come from the man himself, and it makes sense now, doesn't it? Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, I want to start off with some context here. I played this clip for you guys a couple days ago. Just take a look.
Anything to do with school choice, also. Okay. But also, separate from school choice, we're going to take the Department of Education, close it. I'm going to close it.
Yes.
We'll have one person, could be you if you decide to retire.
Okay, Mr. President, here's what bothers
Central Cast.
Here's what bothers me about that. So let's say you have a liberal city, let's Los Angeles, San Diego, and they just decide we're going to get rid of that history. We got new history. This is America built off the backs of slaves on stolen land. And that curriculum comes in.
Then we don't send them money.
That's it.
We would save half of our budget.
Okay.
Donald Trump is talking about total reform of the Department of Education. And by reform, I mean the suggestion is shutting it down and restarting from scratch.
Yep.
And the left is saying, well, that's crazy. That's insane. Donald Trump doesn't want kids to be educated, right? But no, of course not. That's not at all what he's saying. And when you listen to what he's actually saying, what he actually stands for, well, it starts to make sense now, doesn't it? Take a look at this clip that's now going viral.
We have here in the Bronx, what are we
They're
going to
failing.
What are we going to do to improve that in our school systems?
Well, we're moving them back from Washington, where you have people that don't care about New York, frankly. You know, in Washington, I don't know if you ever noticed this, you got Department of Education, Department of Education. You got half the buildings in Department of Education. I never saw, you don't need any of them. You know, I want one person and a secretary to just make sure they're teaching English, okay? Give her a little English, okay? I say reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Go back to the
no
basics.
No transgender, no operations. You know, they take your kid. There are some places, your boy leaves the school, comes back, a girl, okay? Without parental consent.
Yep.
What is that all about? That's when they talk about a threat to democracy, they're a threat. Could you imagine, without parental consent? At first, when I was told that was actually happening, I said, you know, it's an exaggeration. No, it happens. It happened.
And I'm going to stop right here real quick to tell my story. I'm just surprised that Donald Trump has brought this out. But last year when I started my channel, okay, I did make a video about an incident that happened with a friend of mine back home in New York, and this was like like I said, I think it was like 2019. But her son, he was only about 15 years old. She said he never went outside, to hang out late, whatever the case was. He spent a lot of time at home. He would play his video games, whatever the case is, always had good grades. And then she said that she noticed that for about a week straight, almost 2 weeks straight, that he was getting up, he was always tired. He like some of the homework that he was bringing home, it just wasn't, it wasn't as good as, it used to be, with him not doing it right. So she thought that it was him staying up all night playing video games. So she had told him, if this doesn't change, I'm taking away whatever it was. I can't remember what she told me, if it was an Xbox or whatever, but so he kept telling her, no, it's not that. I'm just up doing my assignments. So she figured, okay, school assignments, he's probably staying up studying, whatever the case is. But if that's the case, why are his grades slipping so fast? So she said that one morning he was like really, really tired, and she had asked him, she goes, what exactly is it that you're doing? What are these assignments that you're doing? What happened was, okay, now this was back in like I said, I think it was like 2019, and in the Bronx, in New York, the school, instead of them giving him to do, and it wasn't even for him to do anything to pick up on his grades, they made it mandatory, okay, and it wasn't even for extra credit. The school went and purchased all these life-size baby dolls, these like real life baby dolls, okay, that you have to feed and you got to change the diapers and all that, and they were giving them to the boys and making the boys act as if they were parents in the middle of the night having to take care of a baby. When she found this out, that he went into the bedroom and took it out, she said she lost her shit, okay? So she took the doll, she threw it in a bag, she went to the school, and she said when she walked in, there was already there about 5 or 6 parents there, okay? And when she went into the school, she noticed that there was, a few parents there that were pissed off. It was the parents going to the school to complain about the same thing. And she said that her and the parents, they chewed these teachers a new one so bad, asking them, why would you try to force our young sons? Why are you trying to force them on what it is to be a father? She was like, my son is still a virgin. He doesn't even have a girlfriend. Why are you pushing this on him? It's not even for extra credit. Why can't you guys give them something different? Give them wood shop, give them metal shop, give them mechanic shop, something. Basically, they're like, I'm not going to say they're feminizing the boys, but they're making them go through something that they feel, okay, that they have the right to do. You didn't even ask the parents, okay, if it was okay to try to push this agenda on their sons. Okay, they just took it upon themselves to take taxpayer money, buy all these expensive dolls, give them to the boys, and say this is going to be your assignment. But it's not for extra credit. It's not because you're lacking in grades. It's just something that they wanted to do to in some way indoctrinate these boys into something. Okay, and this is why I say that they need to abolish the Board of Education. They need to start from scratch. They need to get rid of all the dead weight. They need to keep the good teachers, and they need to get back to the basics. Okay? Because what these woke ideologists are doing in the Board of Education, all they're doing is basically destroying young people's minds. That's all they're doing. There was no need for that. And this was back in 2019. Okay, so for Trump to come out and say this, I'm so glad that he did, because so many people are trying to hide it, but it's out there. It's true. It's totally true. But let's continue.
There are areas where it happens. We're not going to let it happen.
It makes sense, huh? There's a problem in the country. You have the Department of Education that should be solely focused on teaching reading, writing, arithmetic.
Yep.
Let's add a couple more: critical thinking, civics,
Yep.
finance. You know, the important stuff, what it takes to be a productive member in society. But instead, what's happening at the Department of Education? Well, they've created these curriculums, and they've hyper-fixated and focused on cultural nonsense and activism. And most importantly, indoctrinating the next generation into becoming mindless, DNC, far-left, progressive voters.
Yep.
That's exactly what's happening, and
It's
that is
sick.
a disgrace. It's an abomination. And most importantly, it's wrong. And people say, well, that's not actually happening. But
It
it
is.
is. How many instances have we exposed? Whether it's critical race theory or radical gender ideology that's
Yep.
being pushed on the next generation, the goal is to create Democrat voters, not future productive members of society. And again, that's not happening. Well, speaking of all the examples we've gone over the years, how do you explain this?
Do you guys think this is normal?
Okay, now this part of the video really pissed me off, okay? And this is why I'm saying that a lot of these teachers, they need to be fired. Because what they are doing, they talk so much about they're against kids being bullied in school, okay? They talk so much about worrying about the kids, about if their parents are abusing them at home, okay? This teacher, whoever this teacher is that did this to these kids that I'm going to show you in a minute, that is a form of child abuse, in my opinion. Okay, and especially mental abuse. It totally goes against their constitutional rights. A lot of these grown-ups think that the Constitution only applies to adults. The Constitution also applies to children. Don't let anybody forget that. Okay. And if you ask me, this teacher actually violated the kids' civil rights, in my opinion. Listen to what this parent has to say. Check this out.
For them to bring politics into school, and if they vote for, I live in California by the way, but if you vote for Kamala Harris, then you're gonna get a pizza party. But if you vote for Donald J. Trump, apparently you are excluded.
They said that my teacher was screaming at us saying the other class was voting Trump. So they don't get to use the paper patches, not the school supplies for the girls. They don't get to use the computers, the chargers, or the scrunchies, the deodorant, or stuff like that.
Okay, so you guys don't get to use this stuff. It's okay. And then what was it about the pizza party?
That we don't get the pizza party because only the kids that only our class that voted Kamal get to eat the pizza party, but some of the kids didn't vote for Kamal, they voted for Trump.
So then what's gonna happen to them?
They're not going to be included. Only the kids.
They're not going to be included. I'm telling you, that teacher needs to get fired ASAP and never be let near another school again. That is horrible, to go and tell kids that if you don't do what we say, if you don't agree with us, you're gonna be considered an outcast. And that is the worst way that you can try to get through a child. Okay? How many times do we hear that kids wind up hurting themselves because they're being bullied by other kids? Now you got teachers bullying the kids. Okay, these are not these are not high schoolers. These are not kids in college. Okay? Teachers in high school don't go and just, tell the class, listen, if you guys participate in this, I'm going to get everybody pizza. They basically can care less. They're going after the little kids. Okay? And this is something that should be all over the news, and this is something that should be addressed to Gavin Newsom, because Gavin Newsom is the beacon, okay, of starting all this bullshit when it comes to going after the kids. He really is. Okay? The teacher who did this against these kids is a damn disgrace and should be ashamed of themselves. And don't even wait till you get fired. They just need to resign and never go back into teaching again. Plain and simple.
Is that what it's for Kamal?
Hello.
So I had a couple questions for you.
Huh?
So I heard that Giselle was telling me that you had mentioned that the kids that are not gonna attend the pizza party are the kids who voted other than Kamala.
Wait, say it again?
That you had told the class that whoever votes for Kamala will get a pizza party, but those that don't will not be included in the pizza party.
For Harris?
Yeah.
What period is your daughter in?
I am not sure.
So I believe only one period 5, had a majority for Harris.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, and to follow that same spirit, because the Democrats are more for feeding the hungry, free medical care,
Wow.
feed more services, just pay high taxes, that I'll be willing to buy pizza for the class.
Okay.
What did she
So-
say? Said?
You are willing to buy pizza for the class for those who win with Harris, right?
For those that voted for Harris?
Yeah.
All right, I got to jump in. I'm sorry, people. But this woman said that the Democrats are more forgiving. Yeah, they are. To everybody else, they're willing to give to those who support them, and anybody that's not from America that supports them. The ones that don't support them, they don't want to give them shit. Okay, they just want to keep taking and giving to everybody else. This teacher's a damn disgrace, man.
Is she in period 5? If she's not in period 5, we're just doing a regular day.
Oh, okay. So,
If she's in period 5, it's the entire class.
Giselle, what period are you with this teacher? 5. So she is in period 5.
Okay, so I'm going to try for tomorrow for pizza, if not Friday.
So the other classes, because they did not vote for Harris, they're not gonna get pizza.
Yeah. Well, they can.
Wow.
They just do what the conservatives do, which pay for yourself.
Oh, that's
Wow.
fine. Can I take some pizza for those other classes?
For those other classes, what do you mean?
The ones that voted for Trump.
Unbelievable.
You can.
I'm
You can
going to
provide-
be honest with
you-
you. I am a little bit
you can
upset. I'm extremely upset, because if this was the other way around and I were to go to people's houses and I'm like, hey, do you want a bag of food? Who did you vote for? You know, like, this is not Cuba.
That's disgusting.
That's not okay to do, you know,
I'm sorry, people. This is really disgusting. Obviously, this was put up by Libs of TikTok. They do a great job in busting people like this. For her to come on and say that if they vote conservative, they do what conservatives do, pay for themselves. They make it seem as if conservatives don't care about anybody. This is so wrong. When if it was a child that thought like this because they're hearing something from other children, then you could correct them. But for an adult to think like this and wind up trying to implement it on other kids and say, you see, we're the Democrats, we care. This is why you can have pizza, but since those kids vote conservative, they're voting for Trump. They don't deserve it because they could pay for it themselves. There are so many things wrong with what this woman is saying, the way she's thinking, and what she's doing. Totally disgusting, man. Wow.
In Cuba, they have a right to vote, though.
Exactly. So if there's a right to vote in this country, we should be able to vote for whoever we want with no milk prices in return.
Yeah, I agree.
And this isn't just a one-off situation.
She said, yeah, I agree. But you're basically rewarding the kids that vote for Kamala, and the kids that don't, you're not. You're not giving them anything. I mean, how in the world does an adult, okay, get such a mindset that it just totally, it totally takes away all rationale? I have someone on my Facebook page, okay, and I've known the guy way too long, and obviously he doesn't like Trump. It's fine, okay, we grew up together. But when Trump went to McDonald's and did what he did at McDonald's, he put out a post about that that Trump basically messed it up for him. He's not going to eat at McDonald's anymore. Now, I didn't say nothing. I mean, if that's the way he feels, fine. But it's like, what exactly is it that Trump is doing that you have to suffer from this mental breakdown? Okay? Now, as an adult, if you don't want to partake in something because you want to protest against it, then fine, you know. But to go and try to implement that on the kids, that's not the way it's done. You should be able to explain everything to the kids, and when the kid asks you, then why do you have a problem? You come out and say how you feel. But to go and make blatant lies about that the Democrats are more giving than conservatives, that is just, I tell you, these people seriously have something demonic going on inside of their heads, man.
Where it happened at one school and it was one individual teacher, we've covered so many of these instances where left-wing politics or gender ideology is inappropriately introduced in the curriculum. You will be a Democrat. That's the education. Math scores be damned. Math scores are racist. The ability to read, we've got all these schools across all of these big Democrat cities that are failing to produce basic results like teaching kids how to read and write. You have some American cities.
I just want to show something real quick. I was just reading this. I'm assuming this is the teacher's name, Claudia de la Cruz. It says Karina Garcia, Peace and Freedom. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Republican. Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, Democrat. Robert F. Kennedy, Nicole Shanahan, American Independent. Who is Peace and Freedom? Who are these people right here? What party is this? You know, it's like these leftists are trying to set up like this bizarre world dystopia. Okay? Instead of just keeping everything to the basics, no, they just have to change it around so it'll fit whatever narrative, whatever fantasy there's going on in their head, in their world. And then knowing that it's all lies, okay, they want to go and feed it to the kids so that they can grow up and think like them, if not think worse than them. It's just beyond me.
As wild as this is, that have higher illiteracy rates than third world nations. And knowing all of this, the American people are just supposed to shut up and take it, just accept it as fact, and probably even worse, just accept the fact that your taxpayers are subsidizing all of it. It is insane. It's unjustifiable. It's wrong. And this bullying tactic, this intimidation tactic, that if you challenge what they're trying to do, you're some sort of extremist that wants to take education away from kids, is insane. Again, it's just patently wrong. It's this Goliath of teachers unions and their political influence at work. That's what it is. Shut up and don't ask questions. That's essentially what they're saying. And finally, we have a politician, and I have a hard time calling him that, because Trump is not a politician. We have a leader, let's say, actually, who's willing to point the finger and say, look what's happening, this is what's happening, and we're not going to have it. Enough is enough. I mean, just think about it. Gender transitions of minors without parental consent. That is insane, and that is 100% what the Department of Education is fighting for. That's what Joe Biden's administration is fighting for, and that's what's happening in left-wing cities and left-wing states. Minor gender transitions without parental consent. You shouldn't be able to give a kid an Advil without parental consent. But you're supposed to accept this as the new norm. Again, it's insane, it's crazy, it's wrong. And there's only one man who's highlighting it. There's only one man who's actually speaking up and challenging it. And they're telling you he's the extremist who wants to shut down education. No, he wants good education.
Exactly.
Real education, not indoctrination. Donald Trump is arguing for an end to the radicalism, the left-wing radical indoctrination that we've seen. And it's plain and obvious that that's exactly what's happening. It's not just the gender ideology stuff. Just look at what's going on in youth culture and how a good chunk of young people have been brainwashed and radicalized into supporting terrorist organizations.
Wow.
It's all linked. It's this extreme left-wing ideology that has completely taken over the public education system and even the private education system in some places. And frankly, it's time to push back on it. It's time to demand change and to remove this monopoly-style control that left-wing ideologues have on the education of the next generation.
Exactly.
There has to be a balance. There has to be some neutrality. The next generation needs to be taught how to think, not what to think. And I think that's probably the best way to end it. Because that right...
I'll leave it at that. But I'll leave a link in the description also. But, you know, it's true. You know, you have teachers like this basically doing like these disgusting acts on these kids, messing with their minds, making them feel like outcasts, vilified, but yet they go and they bitch and moan and complain, saying that the left is marginalized. People on the left are marginalized. But look at what you're doing. You're marginalizing the other half. Okay? You got people like Tim Walsh that wants to be vice president, a man who says that he was in the military, a man that says that he's a good father, but such a good father that he went behind every other man's back, okay, and forced to put tampon dispensers in the boys' bathrooms behind those parents' backs. Okay, pushing an agenda with having no regard for anybody else's son, okay, but yet people are saying that, oh, he's like father of the year. For who? For his son, maybe his daughter, but he's definitely not a role model for everybody else's son. Okay? You know, it's just so disgusting. And what makes it even more disgusting, and I'm sure that everybody agrees, even if you're on the left, because there are many people on the left that don't agree with this. I mean, even in the gay community. But it's like, when you have adults doing this, where is the line drawn? Okay? Where is the line drawn when you come out and say, you know what? First of all, it's none of your business, okay, to be teaching this to somebody else's child. And number two, why? What is going on in your head late at night that you feel compelled to get up and you have children of your own, but you want to go and indoctrinate other people's kids? And I'm not talking indoctrination. I mean, we all know the indoctrination is mostly sexualization. It's like, what is compelling you to do that? Okay, now anybody can fill in the blanks. Me personally, I fill in the blanks with everything that's wrong. Every single word that they hate, that's what I'm filling in the blank with. But when you try to bring it up, you know, case in point, like he was saying, and a lot of people say it, you're vilified. You're a xenophobe, a homophobe, Islamophobe, whatever it is. It's like they criticize you for vilifying them, but hey, come here. Sorry, the dog is having fun with a box. Really? You know, and it's like you want to vilify everybody, but look at what you're doing, okay? And you're not doing it to adults, because the adults will say, you know what, I have no time for you, walk away. You're secretly doing it to their kids, and you expect them not to get upset? You expect them not, you know, to say something, but yet you go and tell one of their kids something that's the opposite right away, they'll vilify you again. Why are you talking to my child like that? My child's going to grow up to be a leftist. It's like, well, then if you don't like it, where do you get off thinking that you can do this to anybody else's kid? And it's because the people that are in power when they're in power, give them that power. Okay? And this is what's going on. I mean, just the other day, and I'll make it quick so I can wrap it up. You know, when Kamala Harris, when those two guys came out and said Jesus is Lord, Jesus is King, and she came out and mocked them in front of everybody, this was a couple of nights ago, and said that's down the block, the rally down the block or something like that, the smaller one, it's like the smaller one. Let me tell you something, woman. God is bigger than any other demonic idol that you think is in charge, or whatever, whichever way you want to think about it. How dare you come out and tell, you're talking about abortion rights, two men come out and say Jesus is King, Jesus is Lord, and you mock them in front of everyone, saying that's the smaller rally down the road? God is not meant to be mocked, and especially when it comes to like messing with the children, that's not what you do. But these are the people that are in charge, and they make it seem like, you know what? This is our time. This is what we're doing. We're on the right side of history. No, like I said, you're on a side of history, but it's not the right side. Okay? Now, if you change your ways because that's what God wants, that's one thing. But if you're not going to change your ways and keep pushing that agenda, you have problems, and you have a very big surprise coming for you. When God's timing is right, you're going to have a wake-up call. Okay? And it may not be here on this earth, but when you have to stand in front of him, either way, you're going to have a wake-up call. And you're not going to be saying it's the smaller rally down the block, or because you're conservative, you can't have pizza. No. You're not going to be saying those things, and there is no excuse. You're not going to have a good enough excuse to say it other than the fact that I was wrong. Please forgive me. Because that's how it's going to go down. Trust me, that's how it's going to go down. Okay? God will not be mocked, and you adults out there that think that it's okay, or you lefties that think that this is okay, you better take heed. You are messing with people's children. This is not a game. Okay? Parents have died for their children. Literally have jumped in front of bullets, have done whatever they had to do so their children could live. Have given up their lives. Okay? You know, people keep saying that this country is going downhill. I don't think like that. I believe that a big portion of the country is going downhill. Okay? We are bigger, we are stronger, and we want what's best for everyone. For these Democrats to come out and make it seem like people on the right are the problem, no, it's not. You people are the problem. Your thinking is the problem. Your ideology, your agenda, that's a problem. It's a problem because once you involve the kids, you just made it a big problem. Had you just left it up to the adults in the room and said, you know what, we're going to fight for these kind of policies and see who wins and just leave it at that, that's okay, but no, that's not what you want. You figure, you know what, we may not win this one, but we're thinking long term, we're going to take over their kids' minds. That's not how it's going to happen. Believe me, that's not how it's going to happen. You may think it looks good, you may think that that's what's going to happen, but it's not. It's not. So you people really need to figure out what the hell it is you're going to do, because, you know, in the real world, okay, and I say that because we don't see enough of it, but in the real world, you people will be getting arrested and be thrown in prison. And I think that's what needs to happen. This is why I'm always saying, whenever I get the chance, parents need to, regardless of where you're at, parents need to band together, start petitions, and flood the courts with lawsuits. Flood the courts with lawsuits. Because all these things, regardless of what laws that Gavin Newsom passed or Tim Walz passed, you cannot tell me that no judges will accept a lawsuit against something like that, because it all has the earmarks of call it what you want, child abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, whatever it is you want. Okay? All these laws that these states are passing, that these counties are passing, that whoever's in power is trying to pass, that's affecting children and trying to push parents away, there are laws against that. You need to find out the laws, and you need to flood the courts. I mean, people say, well, it's just one person. Not if you get 1,000 parents to have 1,000 lawsuits against one teacher, one school, the Board of Education. Flood the court system with lawsuits. Turn it on its ear, man. See, I don't have children, but I tell you what, if I did, I'd be up in the court getting a lawyer. The more people that get together, the more exposure it's going to get. Lawyers will be coming out the woodwork to take these cases against the Board of Education, against governors, against mayors. I mean, hell, who knows? I mean, people try to sue the Biden administration all the time. Why not the parents? Just saying. Why not the parents? I mean, think about it, man. Think about it. But anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, I'll leave a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. Also, I'm leaving a link for this video. Again, this was Liberal Hive Mind. Go check them out. Show them some love. And I'll be leaving a link for Loza Alexander's Gifts and Go campaign again. So remember, people, stay vigilant. Keep praying for each other. Keep praying for the women and the children. Pray for this country. Pray for your enemies. Pray for Donald Trump. And don't forget to get out there and vote. Peace.